Moin moin and welcome everybody. I'm super happy to lead you today through the live introduction of the Scaleup Landing Pad Hamburg, where a new product of the city is to be launched with several panels, keynotes, and insights from founders as well as businesses, big businesses, and as the first point, politics. I'm super happy to have with me the two persons who, from the city of Hamburg, made all of this possible. So, first of all, I would like to hand the word to Senator Michael Westhagemann, the Senator for Economy and Innovation in Hamburg, who made this initiative possible.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm really happy that I'm here today and welcome to everybody around the world. I think that is also important. And first, I have to ask to Rolf, what we are doing here if we say, what is landing pad, startup landing pad?
It's a very innovative new service we offer from Hamburg Invest, from
Okay.
the side of the startup unit. It will be much easier than in the past to land here as a scale up in Hamburg. So that's the point today.
You are sure that we have already a lively startup scene here in Hamburg?
Of course, not only startups, but most of all also some scale ups, great companies, also innovative companies, universities, scientific institutions. So we have all we need, a very vital ecosystem.
Oh, Rolf, this is really good. So that we have not only a harbor, an airport, a place of trade, traffic, and of course, we have many companies around in the area of logistics and of course mobility, but also in some other areas. We come later to some important points if we say, can we also reduction CO2 emission? How we make it here in Hamburg? Is our harbor important also for startups? I don't know. I believe it is so.
Of course.
Of course. Why we are really happy. If somebody looking for startups, he has to use also one of the new platform we have offered 1.5 weeks before.
Yes, of course. That's the thing for the startups, but we want to go further. We want to go to the scale up, so the more mature startups in an innovative context. And that's the point today. And we want to offer this new service from the side of Hamburg Invest.
That is really good. But also if somebody is looking to find some startups, he have to use
Startup City, of course.
Startup City
Hamburg.
Point Hamburg.
Of course.
So that is really great. So Rolf, go ahead. If we say what actively we can do to bring also the internationals from the outside to Hamburg.
So first of all, I'd like to thank you, Michael Westhagemann, as a senator for your support and this introduction. So we are very happy and glad today to offer or to present our new services in the field of scale-ups. The Scale-up Landing Pad will make it much easier in the future for scale-ups to land here in the free and Hanseatic city of Hamburg. Especially in the field of mobility and logistics. And I think this will bring us some steps further to solve the urban challenges we have. We have urban mobility, logistics as a challenge. As a city of the future, we have to be sustainable, innovative, and of course digital. And with this package, with this new welcome service, I think we can offer the scale-ups, the international scale-ups, a very vital ecosystem, as mentioned before.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. If I look also what kind of transformation we have just now, we look also in some areas where everybody knows. We have still our climate crisis just now. And this is really a challenge for everybody. And this is why we say also we look forward to the decarbonization of industries, what we are doing here in Hamburg. And what we enable also companies to switch to sustainable processes. That is also important. And hopefully next time you will see it also in our harbor where we have our industrial area here in Hamburg. It is the biggest industrial area in Europe, what we find. And there you will see a lot of companies. And this is why a scale-up landing pad is so important. And this is why we introduce it today. And Rolf, on my side, says already, it is really a good idea to start now with this new landing pad.
Of course.
Of course.
That's the point, because we are still very strong, of course, as a harbor, number 3 in Europe, as a aviation location, as an aviation cluster. I think it's number 3 in the world, and we are very strong. That has we have shown this in the ITS Mobility Congress. It's the World Congress It was the last year World Congress about urban mobility. So I think we have the best basis we can have to go this step further into the future. Hamburg is a city of the future, and we will make it. I think we will be sustainable, we will be innovative, and of course we will be digital. And I think that's the starting point of this new history, I think.
Rolf, you are absolutely right. If somebody asking from outside, what is the future city in Germany and who drives innovation? The answer is every time the same. It's Hamburg. Hamburg is coming up more and more so that you can see the future in Hamburg will build up also the future for Germany.
That's the point. Thank you very much.
That's the point. It's great. But also I'm really happy that hopefully the friends around the world are also around, and some investors say, oh, if I have to make an investment in Europe, I will look to Germany, and then I have to look to Hamburg. I think that is what we believe also in the future coming up. And this is why we also say in the transformation area of the different, I would say, industries, we are very good in shape.
Of course. And in this context, it's a special day for us.
It's a special
Today's
day.
The starting point to transform this city together with all the startups, the scale-ups, our great innovative companies, with the ecosystem together. So I think let's do it.
Let's do it. We are really happy to be here today with you, and hopefully we will have a nice evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rolf.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you too. With this passion, it is nearly obsolete that I'm here as a moderator. You could do that yourselves. But thank you so much for taking the time and for making clear that Hamburg is on a path to actually become digital and innovative as hell. Thanks a lot and have a good evening.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
We're going to continue now with the team that actually set up the program that you learned so much about, so stay tuned. Welcome back. After having heard from the persons that initiated the Hamburg Scaleup Landing Pad, I'm now sitting here with the two people that actually put it into place. And we've heard the term Scaleup Landing Pad a lot, yet we don't really know what it is in practice. So with me here are Sascha Jacobi and also Christine Eichkorn, who actually initiated the entire program. So my first question would be, what is it? What does it do?
What is it? Well, generally speaking, the Scaleup Landing Pad is an offer that is based on incentives and services. So it aims to target international scale-ups, so-called scale-ups. These are mature startups that have a proven product market fit in their home market, but they also entered a strong growth phase, with the next step being to expand internationally. So right for that situation, we've developed the landing pad to help them grow their business in Europe and Germany out of Hamburg. And yeah, well, we think that it is a great offer for international scale-ups to join this program and to use the new and extensive support that the landing pad has to offer.
Well, coming from a startup background myself, I do get the point why that might help me as a startup, as a scale-up, as you pointed out. But the question is, why did Hamburg initiate it? What's in for the city? Why would we want to attract this kind of business? Because normally, as we all know, startups are supposed to burn money and be rather the business that you don't want to have on your balance sheet. So why do we want to have them?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So, in our globalized world, we increasingly encounter challenges towards achieving a sustainable future. And for Hamburg, as an international hub of trade and traffic, this is really an important question. And so, in the first year, which starts today, we are focusing on looking for young, innovative companies. Not just from the fields of sustainable fields of mobility and logistics, but also of corresponding fields. For example, AI, blockchain, or especially, as Hagemann would say, green hydrogen and autonomous driving and flying, and many more. So for this reason, the landing pad calls for innovative answers and aims to bring them into the cities. And in the end, our goal is to strengthen the innovation ecosystem in Hamburg. And so, on the one hand, we have the innovative young companies, and on the other hand, the opportunities and solutions of the city of Hamburg with the landing pad. And so I think that is really a good match. It's a win situation for everyone.
Oh, we like win-win. Win-win is always good. That's what I learned in my studies. So I get that we kind of achieve the goal that was already mentioned, to turn Hamburg into a hub of technology. You mentioned AI, mobility, logistics. I get that for the city, but what's in it for the startup itself? Why should the startup, the scale up, we have to differentiate that, why should it join? What's in it?
Well, I think the expansion requires a lot of resources and time, and it also comes with uncertainties for the companies. So is my product fit for this new market already? Or, for example, how do I acquire new customers or find the first customer in this new market at all? So, and I think the landing pad is built to create or to help solve these pains and these problems. So, to be more specific about the whole program, the Scaleup Landing Pad offers the scale-ups, or they gain access to a menu card of incentives and services, where they can choose the support they think and consider most relevant for the current situation. And to be more specific about it, it is really about things like active matchmaking, or, for example, real support on the project initiation, as well as HR services, professional location consultancy, but also co-working space and accommodation for up to 8 weeks. So as you can see, it's a whole package, and it's really individualized and goal-oriented for them. And they get to choose, and we will help them through the whole process. So all that is framed by one-on-one support by the Hamburg Invest, not just selecting the incentives, but also to if it comes to project initiations and all of that. Yeah.
Okay, so I summarize, you help the startup to set foot into the city, to get to know the people that you need to get to know, to find the people that you need to work for you, to make connections maybe to the big businesses. And accommodation.
Exactly. That's one of the big goals, to really connect these growing businesses from these fields of sustainable mobility and logistics with key players from the Hamburg Metropolitan Region. So together they can create new business opportunities and use cases, for example.
I mean, given the housing prices in Hamburg,
Yes.
the accommodation alone for 8 weeks is already a big
It's
package. If you
definitely
put
worth
something
it.
on top, that's
Yeah,
even better.
exactly.
Nice one. So if I were a scale-up, which might be interesting for those listening in, how do I participate? What do I do? Do I call you guys? Do I send you an email?
Well, from today on, and even now, I guess, you can reach our online application tool, which is available on our website, landingpad.future.hamburg. And
That is
there-
very important. Can you repeat that one?
Definitely, landingpad.future.hamburg, because there you get more than just the application form. You get more details on the incentives, the jury, and the whole process. So, and I think this is important as well for the scale-ups. How does it work? And who's involved, for example, from the jury. You will see some members of the jury in the next panel as well, so you get to learn, get to know them today already.
I'll make sure that we repeat that landing page
Yeah,
a lot of times
that's
so that
good.
you get in a lot of participation. But what is
Right.
the participation period? So when does that end?
Yeah. Well, from now on, the application is possible, and beginning of August, we will start reviewing the applications, and we will select the most fitting scale-ups together with our expert jury from the Hamburg ecosystem.
Okay. So I hope you all took notes and know what to do. I would take the offer if I were from the outside. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I'm from Hamburg, so I like it here. But one last question, because as I said, you are the guys who set this whole thing up in practice. What was the hardest part? And this is a surprise question.
What is the hardest part? I think it wasn't the hardest part, but the most important part is to really understand what the needs are of the scale-ups. And we really tried hard to find that out. And our learning is, it is not just about handing over cash money or simple networking options. It's really about making business opportunities possible. And I think that is also the specialty of the Scaleup Landing Pad.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have a panel with a lot of participants right now coming up where we discuss all that, whether this is true. I mean, you stated that this is what businesses need. We're going to proof check that. But thank you very much for the time, and also really from a startup perspective for setting up the landing pad. It's a great initiative from my perspective. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And welcome back. As you can see, I'm constantly switching seats and positions so that you get to see me from each and every side that is possible. But I did so because right now we have a couple of panelists here who will talk to us about the topic of go big or stay home, how to expand your business. I'm super happy because we also have two ladies on stage representing big businesses of the city of Hamburg and also startups. I'm going to start right here to my right-hand side. We have Antje from Airbus Scale, who's in the process of becoming a founder. So can you tell us what exactly you're doing at Airbus and also how the process is?
Sure, Freya, thank you very much for the introduction. Right, so my name is Antje. I'm here from Airbus Scale. Airbus Scale is the innovation unit from Airbus that has an arm in startup engagement and collaborations, and one like in founding startups based on Airbus assets. So, and it's also me having two hats here today. I was doing years of startup collaborations, and that's why I can also talk also from the corporate perspective and say what it takes actually from corporate side to work with startups, but also from what is needed from a startup perspective to land in a new home. So,
okay, that's already perfect because we already talked. Well, we got the insight that getting into the business is really important in Hamburg. But in order to double check that, we have Michael here, a real founder. And since he's really used to pitches, he can definitely tell us within 2 minutes what he's doing, right?
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Hi all together. I'm Michael from the company Serum. And what we are doing is we build an all-in-one solution to digitize small and medium-sized transport companies. So we are so-called SAP system for medium-sized carriers. And we are focusing on the road transport.
That was even less than 2 minutes. That was really good.
I can tell you more, whatever you want to know.
No, you nailed the elevator pitch. Keep that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Perfect.
Well, the next in line is Pantian from the Hamburg Port Authority. So basically the biggest mobility provider we have in the city. You told me that you provide mobility on land, sea, and in the air. So what is exactly you're doing?
Yeah, thank you, and welcome everyone to the landing pad in Hamburg. My name is Pantian Suzongtam, and I'm leading the business unit so-called Port Process Solution, which is responsible for the new business innovation at the Hamburg port. And what I'm doing is that to really developing from the prototyping into a product. And right now we have a bunch of products that we are in the startups phase, which we would like to scale up as well. And so we are offering different kind of services to our customers in the port, which is coming also from different sectors in the maritime industries. And that's why I think that it is also the good start that a corporate like Hamburg Port Authority start to do like these startups and have a new business thinking in that sense.
Absolutely, absolutely, especially given the times right now. But we're going to come to that because last but not least, I would like to introduce Salah, the head of, let's say, Northern Europe, but also Hamburg, director of Hamburg for Plug and Play, bread and butter for startup expansion. You're also leading the expansion to the Northerns. Tell us what you do exactly.
You almost did everything, so thank you for the introduction. My name is Salar. I'm in charge of our expansion into the Northern European area for Plug and Play. Plug and Play is an international company with the roots in Silicon Valley. So we started in the 90s to invest into small companies and startups like Google, Dropbox, and co. And meanwhile, amongst the most active investors in the early stage investors in the world. And obviously, we also didn't stand still, and we developed our skill set, and meanwhile are also having the privilege to connect more than 500 corporates and governments with latest stage technologies in over 45 locations worldwide.
Okay. That was kind of a big one. Thanks. But let's start first with the topic of expansion. We've heard that the Scaleup Landing Pad is all about expanding the business into Hamburg. We're going to come into the topic why Hamburg is a great spot. But we already had a very passionate speech about that, so we're going to give that a little break. And I would like to start with Michael as the founder in the round. What is the hardest part about expansion, and how do you expand as a startup?
Frankly speaking, the hardest part is people. This is really what I learned during the last year. So it's good to start with a good technology, and this is the core of your business. But if you want to scale, it's all about people and culture. So this is really what I learned. It's something I totally underestimated when I worked in my previous corporate jobs, and I worked in sales, and I said, okay, I only talk to HR when I need my something like my sheet or my payment sheet. But now I noticed that this is the most important part. And this is also why we will employ a people and culture manager, and this will be the most important person for me. Much more important than me, much more important than any of the other founders. This will be the most important part. So because the requirements and demands changed so much during the last years, and if you want to grow, you can only grow with a good team and with a great team. And we have a complex solution, and this is why people need to stay for a long time with us. And this is why I believe that this will be the biggest challenge, but also the biggest opportunity. Because here in Hamburg, we have access to a large talent pool in logistics, especially from old corporates. And as a startup or as a scale-up, we have the chance with a good culture and with a good team that we can attract a lot of people and have the chance to grow here in Hamburg.
So you're saying that you want to steal employees from all these people here?
Not stealing, changing their minds or changing their perspective, perhaps, towards new work culture.
Very diplomatic, very diplomatic. But Pantian, you also mentioned that you actively try to scale startups in the fields of logistics and mobilities. When it's all about people, you nodded a lot. How do you attract those people, and how can the city help in any kind of way?
I think you have to sell them with the things that they are passionate with. So if you could give them a kind of what it could be in like 1 or 2 years, and set a kind of a goal that, okay, let's make this happen together. So you could really attract people. And I totally agree with Michael. People. You have to have them on board first. And then once that I have this buy-in, they will be all in. And that is actually the point when we are trying to scale up things, because scale up is also very hard work until you really being stable. And that is actually the path that you have to have a good team. And you need also a very durable mindset of working.
Let's stick with that, because to my right it was mentioned that you have kind of like the glasses of a corporate as well as the founder. You've seen the link in between. We've heard from a founder, we've heard from one of the biggest corporates that we have in Hamburg. But when it comes to people, is there a general difference between those two? Does the city of Hamburg generally attract different people than maybe a startup would need? Or how do you make sure that this kind of fits?
I would say, so I would say what is very, very much needed, also looking into the past, we work with international startups from all over the world. And we were always saying, hey, you come to us and you can work with Airbus. And that was basically the trigger. That was the thing that startups actually triggered. Okay, I set myself on a plane, I come to Hamburg because there is a corporate, there is a customer, and I might be able to work with that customer. And today I really believe that it is, I mean, also building on this people story here, that personal relationships and personal connections is what the success actually means. You can sit in Australia or whatever, in this Silicon Valley if you want. You have the best product of the world. You have the best tech. You will not sell it unless you have a stable, good relationship with someone who wants that product. And I think that's the job that we in a corporate can do by offering relationships, offering business connections, offering like sort of friendship, like I guide you, I help you, but also in terms of for the city of Hamburg, the same thing. If we manage to offer a personal, I hear you, I know what you want, and I get you the connections you need to come, then I think that would be a success.
Okay, you really provided me with the perfect bridge to turn to that young gentleman over there, because you talked about the Silicon Valley, you talked about the fact that if you want to expand, you have to be there. Plug and Play has originally been in San Francisco, then jumped over to Berlin as the big tech hub in Europe, and now you're here in Hamburg. How come? Do hubs diversify? Do you really think that you have to be in place with the people? Why are you here?
Very good question. Multiple reasons. So if you compare our 45 locations worldwide, they're very much similar and very much different at the same time. So what we usually, like, one of the reasons why we came outside of Silicon Valley, I mean, with Berlin, it was mainly for investments, where we did the collaboration with Axel Springer. But then Stuttgart, for example, was one of our first offices where we did corporate innovation. And the reason was that during those times, the management of Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, asked us to come and be there. And it was important for Stuttgart, for the city, and for the company to have innovation right in their backyard. And we see it in the times of Corona now as well, that people are, they like to be at home and work from home at least the first weeks, and suddenly they would like to have a mix of both because they still miss also and see benefits in seeing people. And flying also on the other side, like going back to Stuttgart, flying a couple of thousand employees a couple of times a year to Silicon Valley is not very cost efficient. But a startup is super agile. A startup is super flexible, and they can come and see you right there. So what we try to do with our locations on a corporate innovation side is to be very close to our corporate partners, because we function as their extended arm of innovation. And we have a lot of local people. For example, for me, coming to Hamburg, it was like a kind of a passion project as well, because I had been living outside of Hamburg for over 5 years. And for me, coming back to my hometown and connecting those two worlds to each other was something that I did with a lot of passion, because it's my hometown, basically, right? And so in Hamburg also, to come back to your question, our main reason to come to Hamburg was we were looking for a new location to bring our supply chain activities and logistic activities closer to our partners, and not only to Silicon Valley, but one location in Europe. And it shows that we not only serve Hamburg-based or German-based companies, but European companies. So we have a Spanish company on board, we have a Danish company on board, we have a Dutch, English, German company on board, if you want to see Shell, for example. But so we have very international partners here. So really being close and connecting the innovation ecosystems together.
I really love how you guys connect the entire panel, because it's really, I'm absolutely just a moderator. You mentioned that you came to Hamburg because of the corporates that are here, because of logistics, technology and logistics that's here. Pantin, we talked about this before, and you strongly mentioned passionately that there's already a lot of technology in place in Hamburg that is often overlooked as a hub. So can you elaborate on that?
So I think when we are look into the logistics scene in Hamburg, we will have quite a numbers of corporate who would like to test and also to explore how their products looks like. And that's why when we are talking about the autonomous drivings and about the drones and about the VR, AR, or like AI and those kind of things. So we have a lot of clusters which are supporting these kind of technologies and to grow how the product innovation could really be realized here. And Hamburg is a very good place because we declare almost the whole city to be the living lab. And we have a lot of mega space and labs and area where you could really explore how good is your product in the real environment. And that is, I think, is quite attractive for the startups, because every time when you have the product which is physical, it should be tested before it's going to be launched somewhere. And you would like to know what is the feedback of the customer, what would be the feedback of the citizens in the cities, especially when you are talking about the mobility and logistics services. Is it something visible? And so people can feel it. And if you are getting stuck on the road, or you will be annoyed by new services or not. And this is the things that I think Hamburg could offer very well.
Lucky enough, we have somebody who had to go through that journey. So, Michael, is it true that you can test a lot of things here in logistics? I mean, you do have a technology startup. Tell us about it.
Yes, it's actually true. And frankly speaking, with the logistics hub here where we are based right now, it's the perfect condition for us. So it's something we are all common in our founder team, that the logistics hub here is one of our key success factors, that we could grow to 25 people now. So it's really something that we couldn't do without. So before, we had a small office on the Reeperbahn directly. We sat in a very small flat. I did my sales course, but we couldn't really think big. And here we come to a place with large corporate partners, with Shell, Bayersdorf, Gebrüder Heinemann, but also a lot of medium-sized companies like Krone, like Nagel Group, so where we can test our solutions and we have access directly to the decision makers. And this is something that is so valuable for us. And on the other hand, yeah, we get like the connection here to Mr. Westhagemann, to other people from the politics. So it's especially for the logistics field, and this is something I can tell about. The hub here is the perfect thing to start. So I love it here. I'm a little biased, I have to be honest, but yeah, I can only convince everybody who's in logistics to come here to the hub and yeah, start in Hamburg.
You make it so easy for me to sell this to the audience. So my next question would be, did the city in any kind of way with initiatives or anything help you over the common startup pains that you usually have? Did you feel that you're very welcomed here? Because we're trying to sell the city to other scale-ups.
Yes, actually. So there are two things. So what I told you in the first step is people, people, people. And Hamburg does a lot to be an attractive city. We have here, I think, the best office location. So people come to us because they love the ecosystem, because they love the place, and they love the passion here in the hub. So it's really something that Hamburg does in terms of our people. We have a lot of talents I told you about. And the second thing is, especially during Corona, where we also had some issues because as a company who's not very well known to everybody, we had problems that there have been no exhibitions, no events and so on. And there was really easy help, also financially, that we got around 620,000 euros from the BTG. So it's part of the investment bank in Hamburg. And this was such a smooth and easy process. Yeah, so we are really thankful to get the money from that. And yeah, this was really important for us to get this first million, so to say, from the city of Hamburg. And now we are ready to scale and do the next steps.
Okay. Say the name of your company again so that if people are interested, they know what they're talking about.
Companies, Sirum.
Yeah,
so
I'm
if you're
engaged.
a carrier worldwide or you're working with carriers, talk to me.
Okay, but you make it sound so smooth and so easy, yet we already heard that Airbus is attracting a lot of international companies, talent. Are there any bumpers on the road where you see there could be something that could be done better that maybe the landing pad could take up on?
Yeah.
That is a very Nordic answer.
I think what helps a lot is to define a clear profile. What is it? What the city stands for? For us, what the company stands for? To have a clear profile, and I think what I see for Hamburg is a very clear profile. Probably everyone knows it's maritime. We are the third largest aerospace hub in the world. We have a big industry, and we have industry with similar challenges for the future. I mean, if you look at the main or some of the main companies in the city, we see that they are driven by challenges and real disruptive challenges, like we have to change the propulsion of planes, or we have to change propulsion of big freighter ships, and that means not less than a complete revolution of the way how we build the big technology. And if we are really clear in shaping, here we have the pain points, here we have use cases, we have companies that need new technology, and I think if we're able to transfer this image, that would be a big gain also for companies, startups, scale-ups to not only come for one company, but to come for a whole ecosystem that are in need of my solution.
I'm glad that we touched upon the topic of challenges. You did a great answer, by the way. I caught you off guard, I admit that. But you talked about challenges, and we live in a time right now, I'm not going to go into politics or anything, but it's needless to say that it's a very challenging time for the economy, for development, for the people itself. Pantian, you work directly with logistics, which is hardest hit, I guess, by everything. What are the challenges that you concentrate on mostly?
I think to get first the different problems and the factors that we are now confronted with, in such a complex dimensions that we are here, to focus on something that you think it could help immediately. And I think that's and it is very difficult also for each of the company right now to see how can I cope with the inflation. Can I raise the price for against our customers? How can we reduce the cost in our corporations, or how we can make the service even more pleasant? Because right now everything looks bad. So, but at least we can try with our service to offer the better service. More service orientation for the customers so that they feel good. So something like that. So I think that is to draw the line how we cope with these challenges right now with the supply chain problems, and also these war and all other things. I think we as a corporation have to be focused on some things specifically. Use your strengths to cope with that. And then I think that would be the best, maybe the recipes, how to really overcome that situation, and try to reduce what is not necessarily right now.
Okay. So we heard about focus. Everyone is just looking at me like afraid of what she's coming up with next. But Salah, you have a clear focus in the Northerns, you told me. What would that be?
In terms of
Topics that you look into, startups, given the current situation especially?
Good question. Actually, you know, we have the privilege to look in terms of like the industry verticals into many fields. So we work at least on 20 different industry verticals. I see during our expansion into the Nordics that definitely there's a difference between each location, to be honest. There's more mature ecosystems that look at topics specifically around sustainability, clean tech, everything around those topics, basically. Then there's food and agriculture, health. But then we also have areas in the Nordics that are really looking to international access. So for them, it's not necessarily one specific area of interest, but multiple. But for them, it's important to get international access into the country. So they want to have this exchange with other locations. They want to open up for the next markets. You have also to consider that a lot of like kind of startups or scale-ups in the locations, and this is why also a landing pad is important to have. And
I'm glad that you corrected the could to is.
Yes, no, for sure. I mean, you have to offer it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But you have to also every couple of years, you have to ask yourself, are we still doing it in the right way? So not only to have it is the first step, and now we have to do it right. And I'm sure we have the capabilities to do it. But if I'm talking to other locations and ecosystems with other scale-ups and startups, in the Nordics especially, Germany is the next market to expand into. Don't forget that. Like there is, the markets are limited. Nordic countries are smaller than our country here in Germany. So what's the next neighboring country? Let's go there. Let's expand towards Germany. So that's why we definitely, at least for the Nordics, we definitely need a landing pad here.
So you say that we're going to have an influx from the Nordics?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the main feedback I hear is, hey guys, cool that you're from Silicon Valley, but what about your German offices? So what about the other European offices? So Silicon Valley is good to have. It's good to have our roots there to bring in the mindset. But the next market for a scale-up, and we shouldn't forget with all those fancy names, startup, scale-up, unicorns, etc., they're companies. They're driven by people sitting here, having to pay their bills, having to pay their people, hire them, train them, grow, and it's a responsibility. And they have to also, at the end, make a profit, ideally. So
it's nice that you break it down to the raw thing that it actually is, because my next question would also have been a very specific one. So we talked about the interchange of startups and corporates, technology, innovation, but let's say we are Michael. So Michael wants to do business and wants to cooperate with some of you guys. What does he do? Does he just go to the harbor and just knock on the door? Or how does he get there, and how did you get there?
How did we get there? So actually how we got successful is frankly speaking, I work with a lot of gut feeling, and I try to go with the flow. So for sure, we do some basic strategy and to see what is our core market. So for sure, we've seen that Hamburg and especially Germany is our core market at the beginning. But then we try to work with a lot of networks. And there my approach is always talk to a lot of people. And then I see where I get the best feedback. And this is usually where I then put my focus on. So not trying, because if you only go with the facts, you can't do a right decision anyway. There will always be, with any decision, in the end there will be something which will not be good. So it must be, from my perspective, it must be a mix of basic strategy, basic data that you look in the market, but then also a lot of gut feeling and going with the flow and see where you get the best feedback and grow from there. And yeah, how we did it especially is we are trying to work with a lot of networks, as I said. So because as a company, I don't want to build up a huge sales team. I don't want to go to the same customers as, for example, also a lot of strategic partners like Krone Trailer here from Hamburg. They have the same customers as we have. So why should I build up the same sales team and go to the same customers? So we try to cooperate with existing companies and then try to approach in a team or something like this. So this is how we like to work. So yeah. But we are also very much open source minded and very, working in teams and strategic partnerships. So perhaps it's a little bit special, but this is usually how we try to grow and to build.
It's good to know that you do not like facts.
I do, but this is like hard work at the beginning. But then I try this step. I very much like this step afterwards, and this worked very well for us right now. So we're active in 5 countries now, and so
Active but not present, right?
not present, but we're active with customers in 5 countries.
So you do have several offices, you told me.
Exactly, we have 3 offices in Germany. Our headquarters is here in Hamburg. Then we have 1 office in Stuttgart because we also employ people with autism and depression, and they need like a special working environment. And this is why they can't work here in the hub. And this is why we have like a special office for them in Stuttgart. And and they have then their special environment where they can work. And if you think about developers nowadays, you can't be focused on one city. So you have to be more present in every city where you can get developers. So yeah.
Thanks a lot. Tack got a little irritated.
No
It seems like I've crushed my microphone or something.
Okay.
Do that currently. But okay, so you say it's really, really important to be present at some points, which is good because we want to get people here. But coming back to what you said, that you actively want to work together with other strategic partners, it hasn't been the #1 mode in German corporate environment to be very open-minded to startups and to actively work together with those companies that burn money, or to just listen to them because they don't add to the balance sheet. Is there a shift in the mindset? Is that changing? Has it changed already?
Partly, I would say. So looking into the corporate world, I would say you can't change everything and you can't change a company. And I think if you want to change, we say like we change the culture of the company into an entrepreneurial mindset. Wow, that's hard. And I don't think you will get there. But I think innovation departments or companies also like Scaleup, like Plug and Play, you see the plant into company, into some people in the company, I would say, and those are then carrying the seed towards others and others and others. And you start going to events and you start going to pitch events. You start seeing, wow, this is a cool startup. And you start seeing them not anymore, wow, that's a competitor, but more as a, wow, they do it really cool. Maybe we should collaborate. And I think especially the time today is really, really good because challenges of companies are amazing. I mean, I really would like to emphasize again the sustainable roadmap and the goal to net zero for many companies. Hey, we're talking about tech that is not the tech of the companies normally. It's a game changer and it's a revolution for many of them. And here, partnering, I think, should be key. And also a speed up instrument, because of course you can develop everything on your own and probably you would succeed one day. But net zero is now, more or less. It's in our doorstep. So that's a big flag up for partnering doing together in order to achieve those challenges quickly.
Nice one. I will pass that on to Pantheon. We're nearly running out of time, but I'm still going to go with this one because I talked to you and you have the mindset of being very open, entrepreneurial, future-oriented. Yet you work in a, let's say, business environment that is not exactly known for that. How do you encounter, let's say, the forces that work against it, like that old-fashioned, rather slow motion in the business? And are you aware in your mindset, or do you find like-minded people easily?
I would say that I maybe inject people with my
Yeah, I can definitely I can definitely say yes to that.
because I think that if you believe in something that you say, okay, this is the right way to do it, and then you really shade it to the others, and then say, oh, that could be the way, then you would have like a alliance. So I'm looking always for alliance of the willing, and this is actually the way we have been doing the digital transformation in my company, almost like 12 years already, and we have like more followers in those mindsets, and people love to work like that. Less hierarchy, just really short call, can network with you, just put LinkedIn message on. And this is kind of the things that the people in a corporation maybe are reluctant because they are overloaded with a lot of communication. But I mean, if you manage yourself, you can handle that, and you would get a lot of information that maybe you miss something if you only concentrate only one channel, like email, something like that. So and that is the way that I think we if you would like to convince someone, just do it first, and then the others will follow. And I think that that's the way that we have been doing, and my team is like me. So it's probably a nightmare for everyone, but
Yeah, probably introverts are not so much into your team.
we have introvert people, but
Oh, good.
but they are convinced, and they do it in their own way to convince people to think like them.
Nice, nicely put. We're going to close with that verb convincing. We heard a lot about scaling up business in Hamburg, being here as a hub, and our main goal is to convince other businesses to come here, to set foot into the city. And I want to start with Salar. Please sell your hometown, as you already did a little bit in the beginning.
Well, there's many. What should I? Is there only one word I can use, or is
No,
that
you can actually have a whole monologue if you want.
Okay, I will. How much time do we have? No, I think Hamburg. I mean, let's not forget Hamburg is the second biggest city in Germany. It is a home to many different industries. We have a couple of very, I would call them key industry representatives, which is like logistics, aerospace, and co, which everybody knows them. But we also have a lot of entrepreneurship in Hamburg. Don't forget the family businesses that have been created here. We are sitting here in the heart of the entrepreneurship of the city. So entrepreneurship is in the DNA of Hamburg. The families, the companies, all have a history. And I think it's not even a doubt that you kind of question the topic of an entrepreneur and his job in this town. So great environment to blossom.
Yeah, the Hanseatic Kaufmann will be very eager about that.
So I have been living here in Hamburg for 17 years out of 18 years living in Germany. And normally I'm having the mindset of being moving target. So it's already means something that I'm staying here as a moving target for 17 years in Hamburg, meaning that Hamburg is targets for many things that you can explore. You can come and experience yourself.
Yeah, I will also try to make it short. So what you need,
take your time.
what you need as a young company. So you need money and you need people. So for money, actually, I don't care where I get it from. So this is not what I need a city for. Whether I get it from Munich, whether I get it from whatever. So this is not why I love Hamburg. I love Hamburg because it's for me, the best city, how to attract people. And this is what we as a company need to grow, to scale up. And this is with a harbor, with a Alster Lake, with everything what you get here. It's for me the best city to be here as a young person, but also to be here and build up a family life and something like this. So you can keep really people for a long, long time. And this is where I love Hamburg for, and this is why it's really attractive to be as a company. And I can just convince everybody, be in logistics, come here to the Speicherstadt, feel the passion, talk to the people, and you will love it here.
Yeah, beat that.
Beat that. you need money, you need people, yeah, but you also need customers for your business. And there are plenty of customers and plenty of business to do in Hamburg. But there is also a lot of distraction happening here in the city. You have the sea not far. You have a harbor. You can go stand-up paddling just downstairs. We've got 300 days of sunshine, roughly. No, and you've got wonderful people, a fantastic nightlife. And it is just a beautiful city.
But actually, this is also one point I wanted to add. So we also have bad weather, so we have time to work. So if you come from another city...
And there goes the German mentality. Well, thank you so much. You could all work in the marketing department of the city straight away. We heard it. There is a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the city ever since historically. There's a lot of potential customers that you should address. It's a beautiful city to either found a company or a family or both. And it attracts people that stay here, although they want to flee normally. So in a nutshell, we would be really happy for businesses to come to Hamburg. And what we just heard is that from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense to be here, to knock on doors, to talk to the people that actually are in logistics, mobility, alternative energies, AI, all of that we heard before. And with that, I thank you very much. And I hope that you enjoy a very cold beer downstairs, because we're going to turn international in a couple of seconds or minutes. And welcome back. As promised, I changed my seat again, which took a little bit of time. But right now we're going to turn from the Speicherstadt to the international world. We've talked about international startups and that they have to come to Hamburg a lot of times. So it's my pleasure now that we're actually talking to people from the outside. We have Tim and Gilly with us. Gilly from Tel Aviv, Tim from San Francisco. Hello, you two.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Hi. What time is it at your places?
10 in the morning.
Well, that is
So
very
I
humane.
New day.
and I have 8 in the evening, which is also not so humane.
You can have a beer afterwards. We had that already.
Okay.
Well, welcome. And first of all, as I already did with the other panelists, I would love for you guys to introduce yourself. So I'll start with Gilly, the least humane. Gilly, you're in Tel Aviv and you're the founder of Novavine. What does Novavine do?
So Novavine does biz dev services for mid to large size European corporates. We basically help corporates deal with innovation, work with startups, and I'm also in a capacity as an investor under a venture capital fund that I run called Direct Round.
Nice. And I heard you also are a kite surfer?
Of course, that's all I do. The rest was distractions, as I said.
Nice distractions, though. Tim, you work for the Northern Germany Innovation Office in San Francisco that a lot of people haven't heard of that are listening in right now. Can you explain to us what exactly that office does?
Happy to, yeah. So the Northern German Innovation Office, or NGIO for short, is the liaison office for the northern German states of Schleswig-Holstein, Hamburg, and Bremen in Silicon Valley. So we are a public-private partnership. We have been around since 2018. We do primarily 3 things, which I would label under education, technology scouting, and advisory. So in the education part, this is really around observing trends. So following the money in Silicon Valley, keeping an ear on the ground as to where venture capital is going right now and how that may impact Northern Germany as an economic region. And just follow the trends. In the tech scouting part, now this is really around helping primarily small and medium-sized enterprises to connect with external technology. And then finally, on the advisory part, so we help the clients we work with on their innovation journey overall.
Well, pretty busy person then. But you're here to talk with me about Hamburg, the Scaleup Landing Pad, and what international hubs are actually worthwhile these days. So first of all, I would love to ask you, I mean, Tim, with you it's obvious, but Gilly, what is your link to Hamburg, if there is any?
Well, yeah, I have, I would say, strong ties. My link started about 10 years ago. Actually, it was from 2 directions. One, the guys at the Beta House, which was your first co-location space ever made. So I visited there and got shown around in the city by the guys from Hamburg Invest, actually Veronica from Hamburg Invest. In parallel, I started working with the NMC, the Next Media Accelerator, and we were helping them with presence in Israel and sourcing Israeli startups to join the program in Hamburg. Freya, we
Yeah,
can't
I guess
hear
my
you.
microphone's gone again. We had that problem already. We're prepared, you see. So you
Cool.
mentioned those Israeli startups that try to go to Hamburg. What kind of startups are those, and why would they want to go to Hamburg?
So the startups were all in the media domain, from online marketing, music, video, and at the time they joined a new media accelerator, which had a program dedicated to anything media, which they then presented into Germany using Hamburg as a base and scaling the startups from there into the German/European, I would say.
And when you say as a base, did they go here physically?
Yeah, they all attended physically. The program was in person on site. So 1900s or so. But yeah, at the time it was a physical presence, so the teams went over to Hamburg for a few months at a time and joined the program. And I would say the pinnacle and coming out was at the OMR.
Well, let's stick with that physical presence for a minute, because Tim, you are physically present at the other side of the Atlantic. Why do you have to be there physically? Because for the scale up, the question is, why do startups have to actually come to the city? Is that necessary in times of Zoom meetings, home offices, etc., etc.?
Oh, absolutely. I would argue because I mean, certainly, like the last couple of years have normalized working remotely, which in its own part is a great thing. It has normalized being able to do business in a part of the world where you're not physically present. However, if you really want to create relationships, I mean, trust is a very important aspect of any relationship, and especially as we talk about innovation. So by definition, something where a lot of things can go wrong and will go wrong. You need people on the ground, no matter if that's in Hamburg, if that's here in the valley, or wherever really you are engaging, who have the access to the network, who can provide the short ways to also the informal networks, and to have that physical infrastructure, to have people there who are just able to bring you into these realms, I think is a very important part of helping companies scale or helping or supporting innovation to be successful.
Well, we already heard that there is to be an influx from the Nordics to be expected in Germany, because Germany is a very heated market for those startups to enter a new sphere, to enter a new market. But what about the States? Is that even relevant, or is the movement just from here to the States?
You mean companies from the States going abroad
here,
and then
yeah.
to Hamburg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so number one, I do believe that Hamburg or Northern Germany has some sort of brand recognition in Northern Germany. We may be underdogs as compared to maybe Berlin or Munich or other European hubs such as Paris or London. But number one, I do think that Northern Germany has brand recognition, and I do believe that. So if I'm a startup and I seek to internationalize, I am sooner or later gonna look towards Europe. If I look at Europe, I will look at Germany being in the center of Europe, and then depending on the industry I'm in and depending on what I'm setting out to achieve, right? I may decide that the northern German region is the right bet for me, especially if there's this infrastructure such as now Scaleup Hamburg or the Scaleup Pad Hamburg or any of the other great programs we have in Hamburg. And so I absolutely do believe that also companies from the US are taking a look and are noticing what is happening. I mean, you just said Sala sitting next to you just a minute ago, and I think that Plug and Play is engaging in Northern Germany and with the energy and supply chain hub also shows that venture capital is taking a look at that region.
Tim, I'm very glad to see that you listening carefully. That makes my work feel very appreciated right here. But Gilly, maybe taking up in that. I mean, you come from a nation that always orientates internationally, that has created a technological hub that nowadays spreads its products all over the world. How do you expand into other countries usually? And do you have Hamburg on the map? And if so, how do you go there?
Hamburg?
Yes.
We don't know any Hamburg. No, Israelis typically are aware of the US. 90% of them. The rest of the 10% is rest of the world. Hamburg is not so known in Israel yet. You're working on it. But I think that I'm taking on Tim. It really depends on sector. So let's say if I would go into hydrogen energy or aerospace or logistics, which are all extremely hot topics at the moment, then I would if I'm a clever entrepreneur, I would obviously go where the clients are or where my business partners could be, and then I'll go for Hamburg. We as a, I would say, as a startup nation, we scale internationally because we have no choice. We're a small country, only 9 million people, speaking 3 to 4 languages, depending whom you ask. But apart from Hebrew, we have English, we have Russian, and we have Arabic. And 3 of these languages no, 2 actually are written in the wrong direction. So there's not much we can do out of Israel. So basically, Israeli startups are international from day one, okay? Because we have no other choice. You guys in Hamburg and Europe, you have a choice. And I would say it's nice to be able to address an 80 million potential users market. If I'm speaking Germany, if I take the DACH region, we're at 92 million, which is even better, and then scaling from there. It's which is nice. Okay, understatement. Okay.
I can hear that. That's why we speak English today. We want to address more people than that. But let's go down to the specifics. Maybe Tim, you can help with that because I already tried to get it out of Michael. So if, say, you were a startup and you wanted to expand, what would be the typical steps to do? Because, first there's getting money, then build a product, and then at some point you have to figure out how to get bigger. What would you do?
Yeah, so I think if as it comes to expansion, and if you take a look at geographic expansion, now you have decided whatever market it is that you want to tackle next, right? You need someone who can take you into that ecosystem. You need a Sherpa, and we see that a lot. I would argue with companies coming to the US. Now, number one, the question is Silicon Valley for you as a European or German startup always the best place to go to? I would argue that certainly not. There are maybe better hubs, better regions in the US, depending again on what you're trying to achieve. But no matter in the end where you want to go to, you need someone inside that ecosystem who can take you by the hand and who can introduce you to the key players and who has a standing relationship with those key players, because it is going to speed things up. And if you don't have one thing as a startup, it's time. There are different ways of getting capital, of getting money, right? Venture capital being one of them. But I would argue if you talk to most founders, they will tell you that the best kind of money is revenue. No matter what you do, you have to be fast, and you be fast and growing. And so anything you can do to save you some time along the way, for example, by tapping into an existing hub, by tapping into an existing ecosystem of players, and by players, I mean now corporations, I mean venture capital, universities, administrations. So really anyone in there who can help you achieve your thing, that's going to be a good thing. Again, to sum this up, number one, identify the right hub for you to be, and by hub or ecosystem to be a member of, and find that person who can help you get in there. And if you now tap into something like Scaleup Hamburg and you have a whole team, like maybe Ricardo, Jacobi, Sasha, this really is just going to save you time, and it's going to help you achieve. It's going to help you focus on the things that are really designed to growing your business faster than first trying to position yourself in that system.
Gilly, I see you nodding. Anything to add to that?
I would on the macro side, I would before sector, of course, look into country, and because size and localization issues, if you localize, which is way beyond translation, you would like to look at a significant market size. As we said, localization for Israel, 9 million people, doesn't cut it. And on the other side, having this Sherpa or this team on the ground that helps you also brings credibility towards you. So it's not only time, it's credibility, and this helps a lot.
And Tim, you mentioned that Sherpa thing first. So I'm gonna take you to that. How do I find that Sherpa? If there's nobody that I mean, we heard from Gilly that Veronica from Hamburg Invest was kind of like the person that got him into Hamburg, the Beta House, and then the beer. But how do I find that person, and who is that person?
Yeah. So I guess there's no that one way for you to find that person, right? But I mean, the reason why organizations such as the Northern German Innovation Office now stateside exist, or why Scaleup Hamburg exists, why and the work that, for example, ARIC is doing in Hamburg, or what AI Hamburg is doing, is to provide just visible spaces or communities that are thematically aligned around one particular topic, and which provide this first point of contact. So I think if you as a startup, as an entrepreneur, and you don't happen to have a friend in that city, that is one great way to think about this. Now, of course, for many companies, it's already, though, especially if I think about scale-ups, that may already have raised some capital. Now, the decision to expand internationally, chances are you're going to have a conversation with your investors around your plans there, and a lot of the venture capital organizations and firms that we have here in the US already, no matter where. I mean, one of their most valuable assets is the network that they bring. And so also to have this conversation with really whoever you as a company trust will help you identify this person.
Okay, and so let's dig deeper into that. We've talked about hubs already today, and hubs are generally a network of people that are concentrated at one spot. Gilly is living in such a hub. We've talked about it's a people thing, it's a mindset thing, but the number one question, I mean, Hamburg is coming up as a hub, and let's put it that way, we're not there yet. It already is a central point in northern Germany, northern Europe, but there's still potential to grow it even bigger, given the size of the corporations and the number of companies that you have here. Gilly, Tel Aviv is a hub. What are the main ingredients? Like, how did it grow into such a concentrated field of startups and technology?
So it starts bottom up. It's all about the people. I would say people first, and a strong community of people with I would say shared interest and willingness to chip in and be there for each other. And then everything else, I would say, builds on top of that. Tel Aviv is like 30 plus years old ecosystem. So, we're already mature, but if we look at Jerusalem, for example, which is a relative young ecosystem, it's about 8 years old at its current scale, and it had like 30, give or take, startups despite governmental support. And about 8 years ago, 3 girls decided to start a community there. It was called Siftach, and now Jerusalem is about 700 startups and growing rapidly. So it's an example of an ecosystem that started bottom up, and then the city and the municipality saw what is going on and decided to support the activities, and the government, which was there from before, even expanded its activities. So bottom line, it's people and if you will, one or more places to meet that are open day and night. A place with internet, with coffee, and these are the two nucleuses you need.
Yeah, you just summarized the new Maslow pyramid. Just give me coffee and internet and I'm good.
and energy. I need battery power.
Fair point. That is a problem nowadays, but we're going to get rid of that soon. But as sorry as I am, we have to sum up. Also, I want to get Gilly to his beer that he's so keen of.
Yes.
So I heard from you and a couple of other people today that it's people first, and then people first. And I'm happy to say we already saw the senator today and also Dr. Strittmatter, who both were very passionate about this city. So I guess we have a lot of people here. that are actually very keen on pushing the city to the edge. But it would be really nice from you two to hear as a wrap up what you would think or what you would wish is the most important thing for Hamburg to do right now.
Sure. Gilly, do you want to start? Do I take it?
You take it.
Okay, great. So I think for me, and again, it comes back to the people aspect, right? I think what hubs are a function of society. Hubs is the place where the city comes together. And Freya, you just also said that, you know, sure, Hamburg can do better, but I would argue that this is the case for any existing or non yet existing hub. We always can do better. And for me, that personally means that as we especially talk about technology, and I think that's why hubs are so important, that we need to give voice to the people in the region, in the city where we live. And a hub can be very effective in organizing this. And especially as we expect technology to solve the multifaceted issues that we as society are facing, we need to include as many people as we can into formulating and designing the technologies that we want to solve or to tackle these challenges. And so for me, what my wish would be there is, and we have heard that before, Hamburg is a great place to live. I think that is the hardest part to recreate. So that's already there. And now this is about giving people voice, giving people the possibility to have an active role in this. And I wish the Scaleup had a lot of success in doing exactly that and bringing together the broader community.
Cool. Should I add anything, or we're good?
Of course you should.
Thinking now state or municipality, I would also, you know, listen to the people and what the entrepreneurs really want. So it's meeting them, checking what their needs are and helping them. And I would just go massive scale and office spaces or places where really people can connect, interact, and I would say making the space a non-issue, because despite COVID, people are meeting again and want to get together and just facilitate as much as possible interaction, either between entrepreneurs or take the very strong industries that the city already has and work with them on facilitating these relationships with young entrepreneurs, young startups, and really bring the industry together with the next generations of doers, which are the entrepreneurs and startups.
Thank you so much. Really well put. It was a pleasure interacting with you two guys. I'm still looking forward to do that in person sometime in Hamburg or your places, but preferably Hamburg. And to all of the other speakers in the audience, thank you so much for listening in. I have to say that again, you heard it a lot of times. The Scaleup Landing Pad is now live, and we would really love you to apply. So please check the website, participate in the program. It's really great. You heard from those two international speakers that it is incredibly important to find the right people to talk to when you want to get into a city. So do that through the Scaleup, would make us really happy. And well, thank you all. And I'm going to interact with a lot of people physically here right now. So have a good evening and goodbye.